I'm going to get really deep with you and your audience now. I'm sorry if it shocks anyone, but I personally, when I was 16 years old, I got raped.
Ronnie J Show.
Just do it. Because once you start, you'll then improve.
Ronnie J Show.
Ask not.
And why do men cheat, or why does anybody cheat on their partner? The thing that really triggered me when I was going on my walk and I was thinking about this was that we actually blame the other person.
Ask not.
Ronnie J Show.
They haven't really done internal work that requires to build the resilience, the strength, and the self-awareness of them.
What your country can do for you.
We must be very careful not to compare our relationships. It's toxic.
Ask what you can do for your country.
Ronnie J Show. Welcome to the Ronnie J Show. Today we're talking with Dr. Manjit, and we're having a great discussion about our stomach. We're talking about what we eat. We're talking about the benefits of what we eat, and the topic is our gut is our second brain. So please, doctor, please introduce yourself.
Hi, and greetings to your lovely listeners. My name is Manjit Kaur. I'm a holistic practitioner in alternative medicine, in naturopathy, in Ayurveda, in acupuncture, and renowned globally for my radio and TV shows, always talking about health, nutrition, diet. So I'm a qualified and well-equipped with decades of clinical experience, and I practice alternative and holistic medicine. And with that, I also include colon hydrotherapy, looking at the gut as your second brain, and herbal remedies, Ayurveda remedies, and lymphatic massages, reflexology.
Ronnie J Show.
Side with food, nutrition, diet, because all these things affect our gut and our colon. And there's a big connection, Ronnie, that I want to bring awareness to your lovely listeners about the connection between the gut and the brain. This is an amazing network system where the neurons connect with the brain. Yeah.
So why does this it's a very interesting topic to say our gut is our second brain. Before we go into the details, why is our gut our second brain? Let's start with that.
Well, the gut bacteria produces hundreds of neurochemicals that the brain uses to regulate basic physiological processes, our mental process, our moods, our learning, our memory capacity, and be able to feel good. So the hormone serotonin, 90% of it is produced by the colon. And that it is manufactured by the colon, and it influences all the gut activity that reflects onto our brain, which is our first, connection or our relay center of our body.
Ronnie J Show.
So serotonin hormone, like I was saying, 90% of it is produced by the gut and then sent off to the brain, where then the brain kicks in to our happy hormones, to our feeling wellness, to our feeling good, to our moods, to our choice of food. And then it also affects our whole body's balance, and the negativity as well will be reflected. Depression can set in when we are low in our serotonin hormone, or there's reduced production. And how we eat, how we feel, how we chew, how we cook, all these things affect our the serotonin hormone. And when we eat well, the energy we feel good, we feel controlled, we feel balanced, and life is better when we eat well. When we don't eat well, we'll feel crap, and the first symptoms will say, oh, I ate rubbish today. And that gut feeling and that feeling of negativity comes from the colon. Because you have eaten bad, your gut is sending messages to the brain. The same ways you would say, I wish I'd listened to my gut. If somebody's telling you to do something and you don't do it, or you do it and something happens where your gut was telling you to do something. And every time people will say, I should have listened to my first gut feeling, and that is so true, because that is where the vagus nerve connects to the brain and sends that information. And when we have low energy drops, our serotonin levels are low. when we don't eat well, we won't feel good. Our energies will drop.
Yeah.
The total energy that we produce in our body with the feel good factor will kind of lift our confidence, our beliefs in ourselves, and we will start telling and thinking positive. But if the serotonin hormone is low, we'll be thinking negative. And this is where, as if we are a child, will be manifesting that information to say, I wish I could have that cake. Okay, have that cake for that one time, but don't have it five slices in the day, because the next day you'll definitely feel crappy and your blood sugar hormones will be all over the place. So all these things and your choice of your daily food affects your colon and your digestive tract as well. It is just so complex, this whole thing. It cannot be covered in one topic, but I don't want to make it like a biology subject. Will people say, oh, okay, this is too complex?
Yeah.
But the major connection between the gut and the brain is to control your weight, your moods, your long-term health issues. And if there's any connection in your brain, when we are making a decision, it's about your gut feeling, like I told you. So trust your gut instinct. The nerves that are connected from the gut and the brain are by this intensive, very extensive network system of neurons and chemicals and hormones that provide a feedback, of about maybe how hungry we are, how we are feeling, what our moods are. And the gut knows immediately. The reflex points, even under the base of the feet, when we do reflexology, reflect onto the gut. And anything that there's a disorder in the body will trigger from the gut first. And these, the connection between brain and the trillions of microbes and bad bacteria residing in the gut can affect our general well-being. That is why the gut is like the main conductor, the musician that conducts the other musicians to do what and when. Your gut does that. Yeah. And its job.
I was going to ask, just to be sure about this serotonin hormone.
Yes.
Is it produced when we're hungry, or produced when we eat good food, or is it just produced when we eat anything?
When you're eating the right foods, it's produced, and generally produced in a good, healthy colon, the large intestine, and then sent off to the brain. Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the foods that can help to make this happy hormone, a hormone that gives us this mood, a hormone that regulates so many functions of our body. The atomic nervous system is tasked, or it is with the job to regulate and speed at which the food should be in transition into a colon. The hypothalamic and the pituitary gland and its axis also are another mechanism by which the brain can communicate with the gut to control our digestion and the action of hormones. So you can imagine how complex this whole system is. Even other than illicit drugs that people might take to lift off their serotonin hormone of alertness, that can affect the serotonin. In a later life, they will find it difficult to even sleep because they'll be awake all through the day, having taken the drugs that actually put them in extra alert mode. Yeah. So this is where I reflect on to colon cleansing, which is one of the first treatments I started. And I think it actually started from back home doing alternative treatments. And our mother used to give us this anti-parasite program every time at half term. And we used to have the biggest bowel movement and go back and play in the river, lose our slippers, come back home barefooted, or come back eating mangoes or plums or guava from the trees, never having to even think about washing those fruits, and we were just so close to nature. And it took me many years, 20 years, to ask my mother, what is that liquid that you used to give us? And she said it was to balance your colon. And I thought, my God, I've had to travel foreign countries to study about the colon, while our mother humbly was already doing this for us and making sure we were having fish oil capsules in such a warm country in Africa, in Kenya, telling us that this is good for you. And often we'd say, why? But she wouldn't have the answer. It was only when I went out to explore more with Dr. John Walker, who was the guru of the gut, and promoted raw food diet as well, that I learned a lot more. And then I decided that colon hydrotherapy was something that I will start, which I was actually happened accidentally because I used to go to London and I never used to get a full kind of time that I wanted for
Yeah.
that time as well. Was very expensive. And I thought, I think I really need to go out and study this myself and give my patients, prospective patients, value for their money. And that's
So,
where I guess.
in summary, I mean, how many times a year should we cleanse our colon and take this colon cleansers?
At least twice a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very fair. Yeah.
Yeah, some people say quarterly. I would say if you can do it twice a year, not just one session, but 3 or 4 sessions in that, twice a year, you'll do yourself justice and you will replenish healthier cells and healthy bacteria back is established when we give you the right products. Yeah.
Is it painful?
Not at all. No.
I'm not going to run to the toilet every 5 minutes.
No, not at all. No, not at all. It just gives a very good thorough cleanse and amazing freshness and lightness and feel good factor. And you'll say, my God, I am not bloated. And some people are bloated all the time. They live and drink water and say they are bloated,
I know this is taking us a little bit back on our steps. I'm sorry. The next question I'm going to ask you is about how the imbalance in our gut affects our brain. But before we do that, can you just give us a quick 1-minute summary of what happens when we cleanse our colon? What is it? Everything's going to be completely empty?
No. It's done step by step. A liter of water or half a liter of water is injected into the anal wall at a steady pace, a very steady pace. It's like a little bit more than a dripping of water into the system and then evacuated, and you can see the waste matter come out. But it's in all the sealed tube and a sealed, fascia in front of you of the machine. And then once you've discharged, then we fill again and then discharge, fill and discharge. That is done alternatively. But even the speed at which we fill is done at the comfort of the patient. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is where the practitioner is involved. Yeah. And it's just one of the finest ways to actually cleanse and the best ways to cleanse and replenish your body, your skin, your digestion, the ability to have a healthier bowel movement and a better healthy bacteria to reestablish in there, because bad bacteria and parasites reside a lot in the gut, and that doesn't help. Like I've just done a consultation with somebody from USA who's got major gut problems. It's affecting his breath, it's affecting his sleep, even the smell of his saliva is affected, his stool. And there are days when he doesn't go, it affects his breath. He says he can smell such bad breath on himself. That is, and the day he does open his bowel movement, but he's taking bad laxatives and nothing was naturally done until we've given him suggestions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ronnie J Show. All right, hi, we're back from break. I'm talking with Dr. Manjit, and we're talking about our gut. It is our second brain. So thank you so much for being our guest. We really appreciate. We're going to talk. The next question I want to ask now is, how does the imbalance in our gut affect our brain?
Well, when there is a poor evacuation and your body is not evacuating, or you're not having at least 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, 2 is very good, 3 is excellent. The gases or the fermentation or the putrefaction of food can seriously affect the upper brain, because one will feel foggy, they might have headaches, you might end up having allergies, sensitivities to food, bloatedness, discomfort, fluctuance. That can affect the upper brain as well, and you'll feel foggy. There won't be clarity in the head. It could trigger off headaches or migraines. And all these symptoms actually come up from maldigestion or malabsorptions of the foods we eat or the way we combine. And in what state do we eat them in? Are we eating food on the go? Are we eating food that's beautifully cooked? Are we sitting down and eating? Are we watching a violent movie and eating? Are we talking too much and eating? Are we drinking too much at the same time? Because that can dilute our digestive juices, and that would delay our digestion of the food when the juices are diluted. Yeah.
Okay, so
So
what?
it's,
Yeah, go on.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So if food is, going to take 3 hours, the more you chew, the more saliva you'll make. The way you masticate the food, it increases the digestive juices in the saliva. And as you actually absorb the food or swallow the food, which will go in stages, it doesn't drop straight in the stomach because the esophagus will open and close. It'll open and close. That leads on to our stomach. And if you drink water in between, you are creating too many gaps and air will fill up a lot. And this is where then you will actually feel full, but after about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you'll be hungry again because you have not nourished from that food, which would take 2 to 3 hours. And then about 3 hours later, the person is back in the kitchen grazing on the bad food or the crisp or the cakes or chocolates, But if you have eaten well and you're satisfied and you feel content and you know that that food you have cooked with passion and you have used the right combinations of food, there will be a feeling of contentment where you don't need to go back into the kitchen again and again. It makes so much difference.
My wife would love to speak to you, because you're like, he's always hungry every 2 hours, every 2 hours, and it's a little bit of food.
Yeah. So overeating or like eating a cake which has got poor nutritional value.
I'm very good with my sugary stuff. I avoid it, but just that it's in bits. If I'm eating pasta, I just have like a small bowl of pasta and fish. Then after 3 hours, I want to eat something else, and it's on the go. But I need to change that actually.
Yes.
What should we eat actually, doctor? What should we eat? Following that question, what should we eat? I mean,
really and truly, you need to start off in the morning with the hydration of water, at least 2 glasses of warm water, and then give yourself about 45 minutes for that water to go and cleanse, because the water you drink in the morning, if you can make it to 3 glasses or 4 glasses, it's so important. That is the most important water for cleansing your system first thing in the morning, the kidneys, the bladder, the stomach, neutralizing all the acids. Yeah. And then whatever you drink as between the day, it definitely helps. It doesn't help if you eat it with your food. So water, hydration first thing in the morning. I am all for juicing, raw food juicing with vegetables and fruits. If it's cold days, then you need to look at some good, fiber cereals, which are gluten-free, high fiber cereals, adding in nuts and seeds in that. And if you are a person who bloats with milk or dairy products, then go for some substitute almond, hemp, or oat milk. And then giving yourself at least 4 to 5 hours. A 5-hour gap between is important. But if you're going back into the kitchen every 2 to 3 hours, it's far too quick. It's too early. That is the time when you're hungry. You should actually encourage to, after 2 hours, try to drink water. And then give yourself that 5 to 6 hours gap before your next meal, because that meal would have left your stomach and is now ready to welcome another meal, which would be digested much better rather than loading the stomach and making the stomach work like a machinery day in and day out. Or hour in and hour out. You just need to let that food leave your system, leave the stomach, and let the digestive juices to be manufactured more. That will aggravate a good, healthier digestion. Yeah.
When sometimes I got this message a while back that when sometimes somebody eats, they feel like throwing up.
Yeah.
When they
nausea,
eat
sickness.
Yeah. Why is that?
Probably they don't have the right digestive enzymes or digestive juices, or they have poor hydrochloric acid. That helps to break up our acid foods. So they need to look at all that. It's a whole chemistry, not just one thing.
Yeah.
But it could also be that they are not having enough fire in their diet. So they probably need some sort of black pepper, cinnamon, lemon juice, maybe even having soda bicarbonate first thing in the morning, just to alkalize the stomach and the acids in the stomach. Yeah, there's so many factors. It's just not one thing. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting question. Tell me about coconut water. Is coconut water good for us? I mean, I used to drink that a lot. I could just picture when I was little, the coconut tree would just fall. You walking back from school and you fall and we'll
Yes.
run there, we'll grab it, we'll cut the top off, and first everyone's fighting for the water. Give me some. We don't even wash it, nothing.
I know. It's one of the most God-gifted fruit on earth, I would say, growing 30 feet high. They don't need to spray on coconut water at trees at all. They're calling it organic just to make people get hyped up about, oh, it's organic coconut water. Coconut itself is organic because no insects go up that 30-foot high tree. And if they just paint them white with some a white paint, then ants do not travel that far anyway. But it is the most important water with the best electrolytes balanced for the human body, with all the proper salts and the right kind of natural sugar that our body needs. So especially in India, when I was doing my voluntary work and working in India hospitals after my Ayurveda degree, I noticed that there was nothing given like saline solution, or they weren't given hydration with the water bag. They were, or salt solutions, they were given coconut water. At least 3 to 4 times in the day was a glass of coconut water. And that brought me back home saying, my God, we used to also drink so much coconut water. And then inside the coconut, do you remember there used to be the white flesh?
Yes.
We used to scrape that off and eat that flesh. It is that flesh that when it's dried over a month, that then becomes hard coconut, and that leads on to desiccated coconut or dry coconut. But having it in its full-fledged freshness is just amazing. Amazing.
I know.
It's
So
got
coconut
such
water,
goodness.
I mean, could you, we that live in the Western world, can we get the original, or not the flavored water, can we get the original cocoa water in the shop?
Yes, you can. There's so many varieties, so many companies. We won't name any one, but unsweetened or natural flavor, natural coconut water is available for sure. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay,
It is out
I'll
there.
get a link from you later and put it in the link of this video so people can actually
Yeah.
they can contact you and you can work with them and guide them on where to get it. And that would be interesting if I can add that to my diet. If it's 1 glass a day, is that is that the recommendation?
Yes, 1 glass a day, 1.5 glasses a day is amazing. It's a fantastic balancer. It will give you a great restart of your body. With the electrolytes are like, electricity currents that our body need to readjust the transmission of neurons and electrons in our body.
What significant difference would I notice if I start taking coconut water?
Maybe you'll feel good, you'll feel well, or you just might not feel very thirsty throughout the day as you would normally if you're having normal water. It will break your thirst, but there'll definitely be a feel-good factor. It's not that it's got vitamins and minerals, it's just there are minerals in there, but it's balanced beautifully with the right kind of electrolytes, and that's what our body needs.
And would it help with my bowel movement, you reckon?
Hydration again, but there's so many other things, like you need to have fruits and semi-cooked vegetables, raw vegetables, green salads, good probiotics, live yogurts. All these things help with a good bowel movement. It is not just one thing, but hydrating your body, because 70% of the water you drink is required by the colon. And this is where the fecal matter would be of the right consistency. It'll be formed, it won't be hard, and you'll be able to open your bowels at least 2 to 3 times a day if you're eating the right foods.
Wow, 3 times a day.
2 to 3 times a day is very important.
That's a lot.
No, it's very good. It is a very good.
For people who are watching now thinking they can hardly go once a day, how are they going to go 2 times or 3 times a day?
This is where then even sleep is affected for people who are constipated, control of sleep and wake up. Their moods, they won't be focused, they won't be as happy, because bowel movement is very important. It affects your skin and the glow and the integrity and the thickness of the skin can be also affected. It seriously does affect your immune system as well, because having a toxic colon can affect and lower your immune system. Those people will be more allergic to allergies or hay fever symptoms. Toxic waste, it also triggers off joint pains, palpitation, nervousness, so many symptoms. It's shocking. Yeah, it's amazing how the
Wow.
function of this colon is your main AA relay center or RAC relay center. Yeah.
We're going to talk
and
about
how-
your amazing book, Health Heaven, in a minute. And I just want to clarify something before we go to that segment. You keep referring to colon when we talk about our gut. You keep talking about colon. What about the small intestine? You're not talking about that either.
Yeah, the small intestine, very good question, is 23 feet long. The large colon is 5 feet long. So our total gut system is 29 feet.
Wow.
But and adding on to from our mouth till the pylorus or the duodenum, we add in another 2 feet, and the total gut system is 31 feet. Our whole digestive tract is 31 feet, but our
That's
gut,
long.
our small intestine is 23 feet long, and that is as thin as, may I say, your probably your
pen.
as thin as your charging phone charger tube. And here, millions of tiny villi help to absorb the food, and after the absorption of the food, then with the right balance of water and the right probiotics that your gut will have, it will help break up and take the nutrition from that food. Otherwise, the rest is a waste matter. Yeah.
So that's why it's very important. We have to chew the food very well.
Important to chew the food, yeah, because you do not have a Kenwood mixer in the stomach. There is no mixing in the stomach done other than a bit of a vibration that the stomach does. It does help the movement of food a little bit. All day long, your stomach is making that movement. You don't feel it though, but everything starts from chewing, masticating in your food, the food in your mouth. The longer you chew that food, the longer you keep it in your mouth and taste the goodness. Do it one day. Ronnie,
I do try.
Don't
Yeah.
eat fast. The faster you eat, the more a person would gulp, the quicker they would feel hungry, the quicker they'll go back to the kitchen, the quicker they would create that anxiety in that body to say, I'm hungry.
I know.
And, yeah,
just like when you're so hungry and the food is there, you're just going for it.
No. When you're hungry, you just sit down, do your gratitude, say thank you to the Almighty, and start with putting that first bite and just taste the goodness in the fruits and vegetables. Each vegetable. Yeah, you would actually feel it. The feel-good factor would be total acceptance of that food from mind and body, and that is like food for your soul.
Amazing. So tell us about your bestseller, Health Haven.
Yeah, I left that to suspense. This is
yes.
a book which this is my second book that I've written, and this was a book that I decided to write totally concentrating on digestion, the gut, and emotions, how they reflect onto our system. So it was the bestseller on Amazon, still selling very good. A great read for everybody, but lots of information I have given in here about what I probably want to share today as well with your lovely viewers is thoughts come first in the mind and then action follows later. So your thought is like, oh, I'm hungry, I want to eat fast. Yeah. But if you say I'm hungry, but I want to enjoy my food, you'll certainly chew your food and savor every bite of it. Yeah.
That's correct.
15 minutes to eat your food, and that will be resonated by the brain. But if you eat too fast, shorter than 15 minutes, your body will not accept that food. It will pass out, or it will pass as in a hunger prank very shortly. So other than chewing, food needs to be eaten beautifully and with the right kind of mind concept. And even cooking, if you cook with anger and haste, that is exactly how you will eat,
That's
but
true.
cooking, the biggest spice of cooking, I've written in my book, I'll just follow some points here, is never eat with anger, because the food will not be energized. Using the spice in cooking is love, one of the biggest spice of cooking. Practicing simplicity in cooking. Don't keep it simple. Don't overcook the food because the stomach cannot cope with the variety of foods in one meal. I know we're coming on to festive seasons. towards the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, and the amount of food that people are going to consume is far
I
more
can
than their
imagine.
body's requirements. And the amount of body weight that people are going to put on, and then the first thing that sells the most around the season time is antacids and
Yep.
bloated
Yeah.
tablets for bloatedness and
The,
acid reflux.
the comment is going to be, don't worry, man. January, I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to
Yes.
stuff myself.
Yes.
Come January, we don't do anything.
Come January, nothing is done. Yeah. So never overeat. Always leave some room in your stomach. If you're going to have 3 big portions of, vegetables, go for 2.5. And if you want to fill a plate, fill it, 2/3,
yeah.
leave the other half empty. Ronnie is thinking that's impossible. You like
you know
your
how it
plate.
is. I've got like
full.
4 different families I've got to visit, because you go from my brother's place and then you go to my church members, and before you get home, you'd be like, you can't even walk.
On the
And
same
everybody
day.
wants you to eat. Yeah, on the same day.
Wala. Okay. Tell somebody to make a healthy breakfast, then a healthy snack, and a healthy lunch, and a healthy dinner. But people do that to entertain somebody. The choice is yours, Ronnie. If you can control and say, I don't need to have all this variety, I'm going to enjoy 3 things here, but also take a handful of, a massive portion of salad and greens. You've done yourself justice, because a lot of bad fats and bad oils will be used in cooking. Our body cannot break up those bad fats, and introducing yourself with more vegetables and reducing the portion of red meat, white meat and fish is a much better choice than red meat. Takes 48 hours to digest and leave our system. So between that time, you're still hungry. You still want more, because your body has not resonated with the food you have eaten. Yeah.
Amazing, Doctor. I'm just going to cut you quickly because we're running out of time. And for my audience, please, you can go on Amazon to purchase Dr. Manjit's book. It's called Health Haven. And it's an amazing book. It's a bestseller, and it talks about health. It covers a lot in terms of healthy eating, how your stomach affects your brain, how you can improve your life, true health-wise. And please, I'll put her website on the screen so you can get in touch with her if you need help with your nutrition and a better lifestyle.
Yeah, but just to finish off last minute, we'll leave a little something to make more serotonin. You need to increase your fish, salmon, poultry, eggs, greens, and spinach, having a lot more seeds, soya products, nuts, and having a good amount of probiotics and prebiotics, and live yogurt is very important for manufacturing of serotonin in our gut. That is so important. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manjit.
Thank you for having me.
My name is Ronnie Jacobs, and you've been fantastic in this show, and God bless you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching The Ronnie J Show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and to participate, please go to theronniejshow.com or email drip.co.uk. Thank you. Ronnie J Show.
Ask not.
I'm going to get really deep with you and your audience now. I'm sorry if it shocks anyone, but I personally, when I was 16 years old, I got raped.
Ronnie J Show.
Just do it. Because once you start, you'll then improve.
Ronnie J Show.
Ask not.
And why do men cheat, or why does anybody cheat on their partner? The thing that really triggered me when I was going on my walk and I was thinking about this was that we actually blame the other person.
Ask not.
Ronnie J Show.
They haven't really done internal work that requires to build the resilience, the strength, and the self-awareness of them. What your country can do for you.
We must be very careful not to compare our relationships. It's toxic.
Ask what you can do for your country.
Ronnie J Show. Ronnie J Show.
Ask not